Hey guys, Mike here. So got a little pullback today, especially in IWM, the Dow, transportation especially. But again, what do you expect after a move like Friday, which was insane, considered a 90-90, I was just telling members about day, which is where 90% of the volume's up, 90% of stocks are actually up. It rarely happens. It's happened like 15 times. It's like 1980 or something like that. So again, it's not a bearish thing when it happens. So we're going to see how that one pans out for sure. But in today, we'll go over what I was telling you about with Morgan Stanley's report, how they found that, well, guess what? The tariff rate isn't anywhere near what they thought it would be, and why. And of course, why the tariff rate could go up, right? Which absolutely you would see picked up in earnings later on. We'll go over Tesla and Nvidia, Palantir, and a few others, especially the speculation of now that the government has confirmed they are definitely looking to take stakes in publicly traded companies, more publicly traded companies, that is, then what companies could those be? So we'll look at a few today, which will make total sense because the whole narrative is wrapped around national defense and stuff. That's what they're painting the picture of, at least. So we'll look at a few of those. Let me know if in the comments if you have any you think will be on the radar for that. But I did want to start with this chart right here, and this is U.S. composite PMI output prices and then consumer prices. Okay, this goes back to 2013, as you can see. And what you'll see is there's a very big move up in PMI, okay? So what I want you to take away from this, though, is one, the delay in consumer prices, where you get to see it in consumer prices. Two, sometimes you don't even get to see it at all. It doesn't even translate in the spikes, okay? So this is what we got to watch out for. As you can see, that's been moving up quite a few months here. And again, consumer prices really aren't showing it as much as this is. You see the big pop there? And of course, what happens? It actually goes down here. There's another pop. It goes down again. Again, big pop up here. Finally, the delayed reaction where you got a little bit of a boost up on consumer prices. And then, of course, 2020 happens. See the big, gigantic move up. You get a little move up in consumer prices. And then finally, it falls along. And again, this is a yearly chart. So it took a while for it to start falling, okay? But this is what we're seeing now. Again, they're going to see it before we can see it. So, that's why you're seeing that now. But don't expect some crazy move up. Now, of course, this is a little different case because there are tariffs in place, right? And we hadn't felt the effects of that. And that's where Morgan Stanley comes in when you look at this. So what they were thinking was going to happen, we were going to have like a 16% tariff rate. And instead, what they're noticing is it's more like an 8.9%. The increase over the preceding 2 months was also minor, less than 2%. And the reason why for this is you got companies took proactive steps to minimize the tariff costs, right? We know imports skyrocketed, so they started moving them in. Apple started flying, iPhones in by the freaking pallets. And so now they're working off the inventory, all right? Companies diversified their supply chains away from the heavily taxed countries like China. We know they started moving over into India, some other countries in Southeast Asia. So that happened as well. And then you have what they're calling the lagging impact, right? So the full economic impact of tariffs have been delayed and is still emerging for several reasons. Some goods already in transit were exempted from new tariffs. We knew that. Companies' pre-tariff inventory stockpiles are only now being depleted. And of course, analysts predict the main effect on economic data and corporate earnings will become more apparent in the third quarter of 2025. And so this is something else we're just going to see, work its way through the system. This is why I believe it was Dan Niles came out yesterday, I believe, and said he expects this melt up to continue going into Thanksgiving. After that, he's worried about what the sales figures are going to look like, okay? Because I think it's like 5 days out of November, December, something, give like the biggest portion of sales out there. And so we're going to find out, right, as companies run out of their inventory and actually have to buy and then, of course, take on this tariff and then see if they're ever going to pass all of it on or not, right? That's what we got to find out. So again, some companies can, some companies can't, so we're going to figure it out. Now, today was all about the Mag 7. Most of them were green today. And so that's what kept the market afloat today, as the others just took a break right now. And you can see on the SPX, I mean, you got this huge move up. There's the candle down. No duh. That's usually what's going to happen is something like that. So we're going to find out what's going to happen because, you got this area here. We're going to see if this holds between like 64.11, 64.39. And then at the top, you got all these equal highs at the top just begging to be taken out right here. Again, I know we got NVIDIA earnings on Wednesday. Okay, that really is key. We just passed Jackson Hole. And so, it's going to be interesting to see if this holds. And then, of course, NVIDIA, with some questions they have to answer for sure on that earnings call. We think, obviously, they're going to report, really good earnings. but they got other questions they have to answer, right? And so is it going to come up, either tomorrow, next day, end up popping up over, taking all those equal highs out, setting a new high, and then maybe getting a 3 to 5% pullback? That's what you got to find out, okay, if that's going to kick in. If you look at the last couple of years, that's what has happened. And so we'll see if that's going to be the case or not, or if Dan now is right and we just continue to grind up. Every little dip gets bought up. You can see right here, 3% dip. And you got 2.5% dip down, boom. As you can see, dip buyers flying in. So, dip buyers are strong, which means the options market has been strong. They've been piling in to the call option stuff every time this happens. So, we'll have to see. Now, Tesla, of course, we had talked about this one. We held that area. We didn't quite get to it. It bounced right there, and we said if we get through 340, it's going to be 348, 349 pretty quickly. That's what happened, of course. That's where we hit today, and we stopped right there. And one big reason this happened to Tesla today is because NVIDIA was the stronger of the two, right? They don't move together, and everybody was just flowing millions of dollars in call options. And then at around 11:20, it just stalled out for the rest of the day. And of course, what happened? The money at between 11:20 and 11:30, all that money flowed right into the call options for Tesla and just absolutely pushed it up, right? Squeezed it up. That's how Tesla moves. It will not move that big without the options market. So they just rotated. And so those are two of the best performers right there of the day for the Mag 7. And now we're just looking to see if this is going to hold 340. If it does want to come down, looks like on weekly it's breaking out. But again, there's a lot of liquidity down here below. Okay, we're going to see if this is going to hold. If it does hold, especially that 340 area and gets the bounce, and of course, once it hits 350, breaks that, it's going to go to 357 really quickly. And so let's get to that level next, and we'll see. This is a weekly chart, so it looks like it's breaking out there. And again, it goes against the market. When the market is red, Tesla just kind of does its own thing. It's like disconnected. Okay, so that's why we say if the market's red, Tesla can be going. Now Palantir, another big dip down right here, gap down, just went to red very quickly, but dip buyers flow right on in. No problem. So you're kind of seeing that trend over the last few sessions, right? Where we're gapping down, dip buyers step in and just push it right on up. Started right here, boom, pushed right up. And then we gap down the next day. Set another high right there from the previous day. And then again, gap down today. So a lot of gap downs, but they keep on pushing this thing up right here. And so one thing that helped it, you basically had a put wall at 150, which is where we actually stopped. You have a call wall like 160, which is where it stopped. And so if we can get through that, then absolutely this thing can push higher for sure, and 167, 170. And so, and again, if it breaks 150, then, say low B, this will change daily, obviously, as we look at this, but that's what happened today on it. And so, we pull out a little bit. You can see it's still holding the 50. Obviously, continues to test it on each and every day, but it gets below it, and then it sucks back up. A trend line obviously has been key for sure. Still got liquidity above if it wants to come up there or not. If it does, we'll see if it's going to hold. It looks like there's a lot of selling pressure on this thing, though, and eventually sometimes the dam does break. So if it does, just watch 143 to hold. If not, look for that like 120 area, okay? And like I can't stress enough, a lot of this is going to depend on where the market's going to go after NVIDIA earnings, okay? So if it sells off, it's going to put a boatload of pressure on Palantir. Now, talking about some of these stocks that the government might be looking at, you saw ASTS, having a nice day today in this flagging pattern right here. So if that breaks above, we know this is a very high flyer, but for national defense purposes, it makes sense. So maybe it's going to be one of them. Pattern looks very nice right here. And if it does come down, let's look and see. It's going to hold right there at 42.35. If we continue to flag right there and it's not ready to break out. And another one might be Rocket Lab. Another one for national security. Again, these space stocks going big. That trend on up top has been nice resistance the last 3 or 4 times. It's hit it. Okay, it had a nice day today as well. And, this has been moving up, and these stocks have been hot. Again, these are the stocks that are going to sell down big time if the market goes, but this would be another one, it would make sense, right? Boeing, we gave Boeing a boatload of money. You can see this right here is just basically forming this triangle pattern. So, squeeze in whichever move it's going to make, but we've gave them a lot of money. They obviously are a defense contractor. Without them, we basically have no planes in the air in America almost. So, that would be a big one right there as well. So there's another one people are thinking about. If it does break above to the upside, you can clearly see where the liquidity is going to be. We can take this out. We already hit that liquidity right there. But anywhere between 236 and 239, if it goes to the upside right there. Obviously down below around like 216, 218, if it breaks down below. And again, if it gets some kind of, I would think, word the government's investing in it, it's probably going to pop like everything else has, right? Because right now we have MP, we have Intel, and so we'll see what speculation brings on this one. Now, the big question is, are they going to try to do it in Taiwan Semiconductors or any of these other chip companies? You can see Taiwan Semiconductors, obviously, it's just kind of stuck in this range, right? Between 226, 347 since beginning of July, actually end of June, really. And so, we're going to see if it's going to finally try to break out of this. NVIDIA will tell us where this is going to go. As NVIDIA goes, I think the rest of these chip stocks are going to go. So that's in like a 9% range right there, as we can see, going back and forth. The government did say they're not looking to take stakes in Taiwan Semiconductors, because they had said if you took chip money, then they're thinking about converting that into shares. And the word was Taiwan Semiconductors would just give the money back. They don't need it anyway. And say, nope, we don't want to give up our shares. Can't blame them on that one. Or give up revenue, anything like that kind of stuff. So we'll see. I mean, what's going to happen on that? I think they probably will give it back for sure. But let me know if you think of any stocks in the bottom do you think would be the next pick for the government for sure. And I told you I think it's going to expand anyway, for sure. I have no doubt about that. Now, when it comes to earnings, tomorrow night you'll have Okta, MongoDB. And then when it comes to data, we'll have core durable goods orders month over month, headline durable goods orders month over month, and then CB consumer confidence after the opening bell. And so we'll see what kind of price action we get for tomorrow for sure. Please hit that like, subscribe button on your way out. Think about signing up the membership, less than McDonald's combo at $7.99, and that's everything you get with it. Just hit the first link down at the bottom of the description. I will see you guys tomorrow.